Hey guys, what's going on? So I just wanted to do a quick video today speculating how Mr. Freeze could show up in the next Batman movie. It looks like this is a fan favorite for who the next antagonist should be, and it definitely looks like it's something that Reeves is potentially interested in introducing into his universe. I think the main issue here is bringing Freeze into the story as a grounded version of his character. And grounded doesn't necessarily have to mean realistic or in the form of realism, but just a step away from more of the fantasy or fantastic elements that he is in more of the animated shows, with grounded kind of being a balanced or middle ground. So I think instead of like Arnold's version in live action, where there's not really a whole lot of thought that went into why he wears the suit, he was kind of just painted blue and just had some of the characteristics of Mr. Freeze, but I don't really think they got into it. But I think it could be really interesting if Reeves did a really neat job adapting him into Mr. Freeze. So I'm just going to kind of give some guesses as to how Mr. Freeze could appear in a universe like he has set up. So let's just kind of go through some generic ideas here. We know Mr. Freeze is someone who wears this suit to survive in warmer climates and warmer temperatures. His body has to stay around 0 degrees, so his suit is almost like an air conditioning system to keep his body at a really low temperature. And then he uses things also centered around the cold theme, such as his freeze gun, but I think a lot of this would have to be toned down. You could still have his main ambition surrounding his wife, who's chronically ill. He could be someone that's doing research even before his wife got some sort of weird illness, and this is what either drives him to become a criminal, such as different bank heists and stuff like that, in order to fund the research for his wife. Or we could have him going out and doing a bunch of crime and murders as a form of revenge for his wife. This is another option as well. And we could even see him get into maybe some sort of corruption in Gotham's healthcare, maybe something that even eventually leads up to the Court of Owls. But yeah, I think his wife would be a big part of how his character is shaped in the movie. And as far as the freeze gun goes, a pretty good option would be to have him use liquid nitrogen. If you think of maybe someone like a dermatologist, when there's some sort of skin cancer or some sort of growth that's pretty small, they'll get those little liquid nitrogen capsules and kind of freeze it off. So I'm thinking of going with Mr. Freeze kind of to recreate his freeze gun. I don't think you would really get the feel of a grounded universe if he's shooting this laser beam gun and it freezes people. But I think what you could do is have a bigger version of what like a dermatologist would use, and it's some sort of gun or capsule where he's shooting these large amounts of liquid nitrogen at close range to some of his victims, maybe something within like 3 feet. I'm kind of thinking of how Scarecrow in Batman Begins uses his close proximity to victims to shoot his fear toxin or his fear spray as like a drug. So I'm thinking kind of similar style to this. It would have to be something close range where it's like this liquid nitrogen gas that he uses, and this would cause him to have to wear some sort of special suit to avoid being affected by whatever it is he's shooting out. This could be something like a hazmat suit. It could be a suit along with some sort of special gas mask, maybe like a form of a respirator. He could even be someone that did special experiments or some sort of scientist before, where he used like a realistic form of cryo suits for certain research reasons. If they're experimenting with chemicals or something in cold temperature, he could have a suit from that he uses while he's shooting liquid nitrogen. Or it could even be something between a hazmat suit and a bomb suit, something that would protect him from whatever he's extinguishing. So this could kind of be his style. The movie could start with Lieutenant Gordon and Batman finding a trail of victims that die due to this liquid nitrogen. It could be different people who have some form of corruption in healthcare, maybe something that eventually leads to his wife. But I think this would have to be done in a particular way to really differentiate him from the Riddler, because the Riddler's kind of someone in the first movie who's fighting corruption in Gotham and is a victim of that. So if there's some way to maybe really bring Mr. Freeze in as a unique villain in this case, I think that might be tricky for Reeves to figure out. But I think this is really a good possibility for how someone like Mr. Freeze could be a grounded version of his character without being too realistic and without losing the elements of the original character. So let me know what you guys would think of this. Let me know if you guys have any other ideas for how Mr. Freeze could be incorporated in it. And I think it also would be neat to just get Mr. Freeze for how he is. I personally just don't think that would be in this more Christopher Nolan inspired version of Batman. It seems like Reeves is kind of taking that and using his own version of it. But I think if you really want the more fantasy version of Mr. Freeze, that might be something that's done better down the road in the new DCU and James Gunn's new DC universe, because there's different kind of speculation on who the DCU Batman could be. So I think in that case, it might be better to bring him in as something like that. If you're looking for more of just Mr. Freeze for what he is, I think that could be another option later down the road if maybe Reeves doesn't decide to do Mr. Freeze in the second movie or in the trilogy that he's doing. So just some interesting thoughts there. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you later.